My mother-in-law didn't scream, threaten, or slam a door. Instead, she smiled across the polished dining table and said, "Let's vote." The room fell quiet. My husband looked confused, while my father-in-law stared at his plate as though he had practiced doing exactly that for years. "I think," my mother-in-law continued sweetly, "family gatherings should be reserved for people who truly belong. Since Emily married into the family, perhaps we should decide if she should continue attending our holidays." I honestly thought she was joking. Then my sister-in-law raised her hand. "So do I." An uncle followed. Then an aunt. Even two cousins reluctantly lifted their hands after exchanging nervous glances. Only my husband voted no. My mother-in-law counted with satisfaction. Majority wins. She turned to me with the same pleasant smile. "Nothing personal, dear. Democracy." No one laughed. I felt every eye avoiding mine. My husband stood immediately. "If Emily isn't welcome, neither am I." His mother shrugged. "That's your choice." He grabbed my coat, held my hand, and together we walked out of the house without another word. The cold evening air felt kinder than the room we'd just left. The drive home was almost silent. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. I squeezed his hand. "It hurts," I admitted. "But I'm not going to spend my life begging people to love me." That night, I cried exactly once. The next morning, I wiped away my tears, opened my laptop, and quietly started building something new. For years I had organized every family birthday, anniversary, reunion, baby shower, and holiday dinner. I kept everyone's calendars. I booked restaurants, compared prices, mailed invitations, ordered cakes, remembered allergies, created photo albums, wrapped gifts, and even maintained the shared online family archive containing thousands of photographs and documents dating back 20 years. Nobody noticed because everything simply worked. Now I stopped. No announcements. No dramatic goodbye. I simply stepped away. When relatives messaged asking about Thanksgiving reservations, I politely replied, "I'm sure someone else can organize it beautifully." When my mother-in-law demanded access to my planning spreadsheets, I answered, "Those are personal files I created." When she asked for the password to the family photo archive stored under my account, I replied, "I'll happily send everyone copies of the albums that include them individually." Always polite. Always calm. Never angry. Within days, confusion spread. Nobody knew who had everyone's updated addresses. Nobody remembered which cousin couldn't eat nuts. The restaurant reservation accidentally got booked for the wrong weekend. Birthday gifts were duplicated while one child received nothing. 3 relatives showed up at the wrong location for Sunday lunch because nobody realized I had always sent reminder messages. My phone buzzed constantly. "Emily, where did you order Grandma's favorite cake?" "Emily, do you still have Uncle Robert's medical dietary notes?" "Emily, what was the password to the slideshow?" Each time, I answered kindly if the information belonged to me to share. If it didn't, I simply wished them luck. I wasn't punishing anyone. I was just no longer carrying the entire family on my shoulders. Exactly 1 week after the vote, my husband and I spent Saturday afternoon planting flowers in our small backyard. The doorbell rang. Standing outside were my father-in-law and my mother-in-law. She looked unusually uncomfortable. "I suppose we can talk," she muttered. We invited them inside. For several long seconds, nobody spoke. Finally, my father-in-law cleared his throat. "The family dinner tomorrow." I waited. "Has been canceled." I nodded politely. "I'm sorry to hear that." He continued. "No one could organize it." Still, I said nothing. My mother-in-law shifted in her chair before speaking words I never expected. "I underestimated everything you did." It wasn't an apology. Not yet. But it was the closest thing to honesty I'd ever heard from her. She looked around our cozy home. "It seems everyone depended on you." I smiled gently. "I depended on respect." Silence filled the room again. Then my father-in-law reached into his jacket and placed an envelope on the table. Inside was a handwritten letter signed by nearly every family member. Not demanding, not defending, apologizing. Several admitted they had raised their hands simply because they were afraid of disagreeing with my mother-in-law. One cousin wrote, "You were the person who made us feel like a family. We only realized that after you were gone." I finished reading and quietly folded the letter. My mother-in-law finally looked directly into my eyes. I called it democracy. Her voice cracked slightly. But kindness should never be decided by a vote. That was the apology. Simple. Late. Real. I accepted it, but I also set one condition. I'll come to family gatherings again only if everyone is treated like family. There will never again be votes about someone's worth. She nodded without arguing. The following Sunday, we attended a small lunch. There were no speeches, no dramatic hugs, just ordinary conversation, shared food, and something that had been missing for a very long time: mutual respect. I never resumed organizing every detail. Everyone contributed a little instead. Strangely, the gatherings became happier because responsibility was finally shared. My mother-in-law never mentioned that vote again. She didn't have to. The empty chair she created for 1 week had quietly taught the entire family a lesson no argument ever could. Respect cannot be won by popularity. And the strongest revenge is not making people suffer. It's allowing them to experience, with complete calm, the value they never appreciated until it was gone.